Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
Today's idea came from Danny Wasaki. Thank you, Mr. Wasaki. He is a member as well. If you're not a member, you're missing out. There are a lot of videos over on the paid side. Definitely worth coming on over. He had a comment over on the Mayville Paper Show video, the haul video that I put up. And if you haven't seen that, you're missing out. That one's free.
Ooh, nice.
He asked about the show. Now, a lot of the video was of the show, and there were, it's a paper and book show.
Okay.
And there are a lot of older dealers there and a lot of older customers shopping there. And he asked, from your current experience or anyone else who wishes to answer, what have the demographics of live paper, book, ephemera, postcard, etc. shows post-COVID? Obviously, from watching the video, lots of older individuals selling and buying. And I hear many comments from, and it cut off, but like local stamp clubs and things like that, that it's hard to get new members. Now, I'm thinking you're probably seeing it skew that way as well. You may see it a little bit younger because a lot of the things that you deal in would be like sports cards, things like that, would potentially have younger buyers.
Right.
But I think that you also have noticed, certainly, not that you go to a lot of shows, but I think you've noticed older people out there in the hobby, especially, the hobbies across the paper, selling.
Sure.
So I want to turn his question around a little bit.
Okay.
Where are the future dealers coming from, if at all?
Oof. Well, again,
I can think of two areas, but I want to hear what you say.
You're talking like from collectibles, like.
Yeah. Where in 30 years we go to that book show?
Yeah.
Where are the book dealers coming from? Where are the paper dealers coming from? Where are they coming from?
Well, I think it's a cycle where even if they're doing sports cards, they tend to get older, they retire and do it as a hobby. And we've learned that even from the 90s and 2000s. We'd go to these shows, comic shows, toy shows, and I see a lot of my customers there, but once they get to a certain age and they're retired, they turn into a dealer.
Okay.
And it turns into their weekend hobbies and stuff like that. So, it might be somewhere where, there's a 20-year-old kid now or a 30-year-old person collecting toys or comics, but then in 20, 30 years, they're going to be that dealer at the show now. They have a big collection. They have a lot of duplicates, and what am I going to do with it? And I'm retired, or I need a side hustle. And then they start setting up at shows,
Okay.
As far as platforms, hopefully eBay's still around then. Hopefully Whatnot's still around then. Amazon, I would assume, out of the three would be the more solid one. But, I think it's easier to set up at a show if you're older than, I got to go on eBay or Amazon. I got to pack this up and ship it out. I got to deal with the emails where I could just go there, hang out, eat a hot dog, and talk to people.
And I'm going to go off topic a touch here. That was one thing when I did go to Madison Bachville. I did see one dealer that I had bought from down at that paper show, and he was set up at Madison Bachville as well. And I said to him, I go, man, I don't envy you. This is hard work. And he goes, yeah, because it's 8-day show.
Sure. Oh yeah.
He said, yeah, but there's a lot of it is socializing. Because he was under a tent where there were about 8 dealers, and he knew all 8 dealers.
Yeah.
And so they were all talking, hanging out. They're all hanging out at their own booth, but they're all talking all day long together. And, of course, they see the same customers year after year.
Right.
So it's almost like a coffee clatch they have going on over there where, this guy, he always comes on Wednesdays, during the show. This guy always comes by on Friday and buys this. Oh, here comes this guy. So there is that social aspect of it as well, which I didn't really understand.
Sure. Yeah.
Anywhere else you can think of where?
Well, we've talked about this before. Concern if we were dealing in these categories, like I think coins will always be solid because there's value in the metal at least and all that, and there's rare ones and they grade them and so forth. But like stamps, though, to me that's a dying breed. And like even if you get $100 or $1,000 stamp, what 20-year-old kid in 40 years is going to be collecting stamps and dealing in stamps? So like that's something that's concerning. So if you're dealing stamps, like what if no one wants them then, regardless of what they're worth? Or they just really want the super rare one to say, hey, I got the upside-down airplane one or something like that. But, you got binders of those common stamps. Or demand is out there of those.
Or not even the common stamps, because you might actually be able to sell the common stamps. People might buy them. Junk journalists might buy them. People might buy them. Oh, it's got a pretty flower on it. What if you have the somewhat uncommon fuchsia grill with the 8 It's got a certain grill pattern with the 8 on the side. So it's not super rare. It's not like the 101.
Yeah.
But it's, a $40 stamp versus $5 for regular ones. Who cares?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but maybe I could see like a kid inheriting a stamp collection is worth lots of money. Well, he's not going to wait and collect stamps because his father or grandfather did, and then start selling them off at a show when he's 60. He's probably dumping them when he's 20 or 25 and getting into something else or getting some cash back.
Right.
But like to me, and I don't deal in postcards, but I would feel if postcards is something in 20, 30, 40 years, it'll be a dying breed as well. Just because how many, I would imagine the average age of postcard collectors has to be up there. Above 40 years old probably.
I would say collectors, I would say, again, that's one of those things that you're always going to be able to make some sale.
Right.
Because people want something with their town. Oh, right. That's the Robinson's grocery store. That's cool. Or if they have, like, pretty pictures on them, things like that. Right. But the hardcore ones, if
you're Popeyes and you're selling 500 a day between whatnot and everything, and you're 55 years old and you live to 100 to still sell them, I would guess that your sales are going to be going down by the time you get to 100.
Right.
Magazines, I'm sure that would go down, but I think there's always certain people. I'm collecting Lady Di, I'm collecting Marilyn Monroe, and so people may always collect those iconic figures. Or, Mick Jagger, who knows? In 20 years you had a Mick Jagger fan. So I think there's more interest in that type of stuff. The adult aspect I think will always be around, so I'm fortunate for that, hopefully, for my sake. But it's tough, though. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I think the dealers, the next generation of dealers are going to come from two places. The one, of course, I think we all know, and that's the family. If you're doing it and you have your son helping you out, the son ends up taking it over, and the grandson ends up taking it over. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is in pretty much any business. How many businesses have you seen where the grandfather's a funeral director and the father's a funeral director and now the son's a funeral director, and so on?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, it goes a lot like that. Where
plumbing,
that's what they go
there's
around.
families like that, plumbing, electrician, yeah.
So I think you're going to always have the family. So you're going to have the young blood coming in from the family. The other place that I think you potentially could have young blood coming into the hobby are the clean-out people. Because they've been dealing with stuff for years.
Yeah.
And at some point, cleaning out houses gets tiring. And you can clean out the house when you're 25 years old and haul everything out to the dumpster and haul it all out. Yeah. At some point, you're sitting there one day when you're 45 years old, you and your partner, and your back is killing you and you're sweating up a storm and you're going, I'm doing this for what?
Yeah, and you're talking about house cleanouts.
House cleanouts, yeah.
What about storage cleanouts? That's another one where you get all this furniture. There could be some good stuff in there, but half the time you're throwing stuff out, half of it out, or you're trying to find, who's going to take this big sofa because I don't have room for it, So that's a lot of work.
Yeah, so you and I are partners cleaning things out, and all of a sudden I hurt my back. I hurt my knee. Yeah. I just say, I don't like this anymore.
Sure.
Hey, you got a son. Why doesn't he help you with that? You and him can do the cleanouts. And tell you what, I've always liked insert whatever, glassware, insert whatever. I've always liked that. Give me first dibs when you clean that stuff out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I'm a dealer in it.
Yeah.
And if you're still successful doing the cleanouts, I get more stuff than I can handle anyway, as all of us do anyway. Yeah. So I think that is the, I think that might be the lifeblood for the industry is as they get older and they stop and they look at it and say, wait, why am I selling all the books in the house to Papergoy for $100? And I think he's doing really well off it. How about I start selling the books?
Yeah.
Or whatever the case happens to be. So I think that may be where the young blood comes from. But
suggestion here though for you should pump out a few kids to help you with all this stuff that's going on here for a long time.
There you go. Maybe a random neighborhood kid in 20 years will have a kid or two, and we can put those little tykes to work.
He'll teach them all to be electricians.
That's true. We can put them tykes to work. Do hit the like button if you could, and thank you, Daniel, for the topic. Do appreciate it, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye bye.